What do you think about traffic in Istanbul?
Istanbul?
Yeah.
Traffic.
Ya ya hadi ya. Ya abi niye gitmiyorsun? Abi kullanmak bilmiyor musun ya? Niye gelemiyorsun? Ya bu gerizekalıya bak ya. Hadi abi niye gelemiyorsun ya abi git. Ya abi kullanmak bilmiyor musun ya? Ben böyle niyet aldım abi ya. Oh, shit. Okay, tamam. Tamam, problem yok. And this is why you take a taxi in Turkey. If he comes back, yeah, I know what I'll do this time.
Hey, welcome guys. Welcome back to Turkey Unmasked. Please do me a favor. Click that like button, click that subscribe button, follow us on social media. Let us know your comments. Let us know what you want to hear from us. I was just having this conversation yesterday with, well, he was a client, friend of mine now. He's here, and his wife's from Uzbekistan, and they're living in Saudi currently. He's an American guy. And we were trying to decipher, like, which culture are they more close to? And I think for me, my kids are probably, they're weird, you know? They're one's like really attached to American pop culture, like what she reads and what she watches. Everything's more American. That's my oldest, Asra. But Ella is like really attached to this K-pop, like Korean pop culture, because she was actually born in South Korea. So she's like trying to, I think she's trying to like find her identity because I think she's confused. She's like, I speak English sometimes, I speak Turkish sometimes, I go to Turkish school, but then my dad's American, but then I think she's like trying to find her own identity, which is cool that she's doing it that young. But the smallest one, I would say she's lived in Turkey most of her life. So she's more Turkish. And it's funny, she actually looks more Turkish. She's darker, you know, she looks Turkish. Whereas Ella, the middle one, you saw from the first episode where it popped up in her picture, she's like yellow-headed and she looks more American. She looks like my mother, right? But then Azra's like a mix. So it was like we had a mixed kid, then we had an American kid, then we had a Turkish kid. That it's like they're all different and they all have different identities. So it's like you can literally, I can sit in the living room. If there's no sound, I can hear like English channel, American stuff coming out of Azra's room. I can hear like Blackpink and things on the TV and coming out where Ella's at. And then Layla's like playing Roblox and watching this Turkish program Kardeşler, right? And I'm like, this is the weirdest house I think that I've ever been a part of. But I like it. It's cool. It's weird, you know, but I don't think they're necessarily attached to one or the other. I think they embrace all of it, which is cool to see. The strangest thing about living in Turkey probably is about how yogurt can end up being on the plate, either as in a cup, as like a soup, a course, a meze, like it can be. I've never seen yogurt utilized as such a diverse like food staple. I mean, you drink ayran, salted yogurt, water, you make soup, yayla, chorba, or cacık, which is, you know, the shaved cucumber and garlic and things. You eat it next to just chicken and rice. It's probably, for an American, it's the weirdest thing because we don't even have, like, finding plain yogurt is impossible. We have vanilla, we have blueberry, we have strawberry, but plain yogurt, just that you can scoop onto something is weird. And that took me a long time. Ayran is a strange thing. I mean, come on. If you never had it before and all of a sudden someone puts down this salty yogurty drink right in front of you and said, hey, Hussein, here you go. I'm weird now, I guess. You know, but even if you talk, like, see the tourists or like when I have client. They can overcome just about everything. The food's delicious. The yogurt, like Iskender. They're like, why is there yogurt on the side of the plate? It's meat and it's bread and it's tomato sauce and butter. What's the point of the yogurt? And I'm like, it's good. Just enjoy it. You know, I mean, it's for most people on the outside, it's strange, you know, because it's not a regular everyday food staple, but it's a staple in food here. Not talking bad about it. I like it. I eat it. But that was strange for me. The strangest. Because it's just so part of everyday life. You can't get away from yogurt in this country. No matter where you go, it's there. Like, it's on offer. Turkish tea is different. but I just can't drink it in the summer. It's like, it's 45 degrees Celsius. They're trying to give you a hot cup of tea. It's like, come on, man. Oh, it'll make you feel colder. No, it's not. I feel like I'm burning in hell when I'm drinking that cup of tea. It's good, but right now, this time of year, Istanbul weather's all over the place. It's like 20 degrees Celsius one day and then 9 last night and raining. Right now it's time for a good cup of tea. I'm good for it. But this tea in the middle of summer stuff, that's weird. You're right. That's weird. Never thought about it. That's strange. What would I like to see change in Turkey? I think the biggest thing that I'd like to see change in Turkey from an outsider is not having so much dependence on Istanbul, right? Seeing people come from all over different small areas of Turkey, even larger areas of Turkey, to live in Istanbul. Like it's like a rite of passage at some point, that if you're a Turk, you've got to go to Istanbul at some point to try business. But things are so expensive and it's so crowded that a lot of times it doesn't make sense. Financially, strategically, it doesn't make sense. I mean, this country, the more that I travel, the more that I fall in love with these villages or koylar. To me, this is the biggest waste of resource in Turkey. Because you go to some of these places. I mean, we were going to Ordu a couple of months ago. We bought a car in Ordu. We went to go pick it up. But you drive through places like Çorum, Çankara, Kastamonu. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, I'm not kidding. Beautiful villages, beautiful countryside, producing some amazing things. Like all along the side of the road, every new little village you go through, it's something that they're popular for producing. And it's like in mainland Europe and most of Europe, these village areas are so, they're so respected and so sought after. The villages are wealthier than the cities in a lot of sense. And I think this is one of Turkey's biggest failures, is not propping up those villages and investing in those villages and making them more attractive to people coming outside of Turkey, but making them more attractive for people in Turkey. Look at Şirince. You can look on YouTube right now and just search Şirince. You'll find Turkish videos, English, Urdu, Arabic, Russian, you're going to find all these because they took this village and they invested in the village and turned it into this tourist destination, and they make things and from the wines and the syrups and the fruits and the olives and olive oil. You can find a million things because they preserved it. But most of these villages now in Turkey, they're not well maintained. They're not taken care of. They have beautiful land. They have beautiful capabilities. The gardens, you go see the people and they've got beautiful gardens. People aren't investing into it. You know what my biggest dream is? I don't have the financial funding for it, but my biggest dream is to literally start my own village and build it in a way that people of all walks of life want to be there. From farming and agriculture to food to tourism to just enjoying nature in general. Can you imagine that you had these restaurants all over this little village where they were using what was produced locally, but it was being used in a very good way. Like they're producing, can you imagine a pide that was made with everything that was local, but actually someone took the time to take care of that pide. Someone took the time to do something more than sprinkle some kosher cheese on it and call it good. But someone took the time to develop what's already there and make it better. This is my dream, honestly, because there's so many places. And when you go see most of the people in the villages, they're older, 60s, 70s. They're happy people. You go into these villages, you see men 80, 90 years old still walking around. Istanbul, you don't see that many elderly people because the stress of the city, the crowdedness, the lack of access to healthcare. Even though we're the largest city, try to get a doctor's appointment. It's hard because it's so crowded. But in these areas, you can walk in next day, have surgery if it's something that you need, And if I were the president of Turkey for a day, I would automatically shift like 10% of funding directly into restoring our villages in Turkey and making it better, because I really think that is where the future of Turkey is. Developing those areas and making those areas clean, safe, productive, and fruitful. Because they produce so many, from the Aegean regions, Ege, with their olives and their fruits and the things that they produce. And then you go down to Akdeniz, and then the peppers and the tomatoes and the lemons and, all of these things that they do. If we capitalized on each of these little regions and these areas and we invested in them and we spent time making it better, this would be changing. This would be transformational for Turkey. People don't need to run to Istanbul to be a taxi driver, economically and cultural. Because what's going on now with everybody just rushing into the city? We're losing culture. We're losing tastes. We're losing flavors. We're losing ideas. We're losing values. And I say we because for me, this is the one thing living here that I wish we as people in Turkey took better care of. You know, I mean, the food that your grandmother made growing up. It's hard to find that food. You're here in Istanbul in a restaurant. What do you find? Kebab, pide, lahmacun, all same stuff. Oh, this kebab's better than this kebab. I don't care. It's a kebab. One guy just charges you more because he adds a little bit more fat into it to make it taste better. We don't value these things. You know, Turkey comes from such a historic culture that I think people have lost what's important here. I think like everyone wants to, I want to live in this brand new building. I want to live in this residential complex. I want to live in this cite. I want to do this. I want to do that. Because everything's been old most of their lives. But what if we preserved that old? What if we renovated that old? What if we rejuvenated that old? What if we went into Eyüp? What if we went into Fatih? What if we went into Beyoğlu? We went into these areas and we renovated them and rejuvenated them, not for tourists, but for Turks. Okay, tourists will come, but for Turks to be proud of where they come from, what they have, what they should respect. And I don't see that as a foreigner here. Talking about, you know, differences in how we get things in front of people. I think Turkey, we're focused on tourism. Obviously, tourism is such a big part of our revenue generation for society that we forget about internal tourism because we've got so many foreigners coming into Istanbul, Bodrum, Çeşme, Alaçatı, especially Antalya. I think now even down Alanya, Mersin's picking up tourism. But we have tourism in Turkey for Turks, but where do people go? Memleket, right? They go back home. But when they go back home, they're visiting family, which is important. But you know, I don't understand why we don't take these villages and why we don't take these areas and give people a reason to stay, to let their kids grow up in these areas. Fresh air, grass, you know, animal life, production. We don't do a very good job of it. You know, people can get angry at me or say that I don't know what I'm talking about. But the truth is that we don't do a good job of preserving what we build. Your grandfather builds that village, his friends build that village, and 30 years later, it looks run down. We don't care about the way it appears. I'll just go get a new one. Why? Fix it. Make it better. Leave it better for your kids. Leave it better for your grandkids. You know, one of the things you hear in Turkey so much is, "Biz güçlüyüz." Okay, we're strong, but why aren't we making things stronger for the future generations? You drive down the road, pup, pup, people throwing things out left and right. Why? No value for the land that's here. No respect for themselves. This is your country, and you don't have the care to pick it up. For me, this is a crime. Go on the weekends. You know, Kemerburgaz, we're right on the Belgrade Forest. Go into the Belgrade Forest on the weekend after everyone's picnicked and had their fun. It's disgusting. Trash everywhere. And no matter who you talk to, they'll all say that it's disgusting. But who's doing anything about it? Who's telling them as yourselves, take care of this forest so the people that are coming next week or the people that are coming tomorrow can use it in a clean, healthy, safe environment? Who's doing this? No one. So as a foreigner living here, the thing that makes me crazy is why don't we respect what we have? This is, pound for pound, one of the most beautiful countries in the world. It's one of the most diverse geographically. From our region here in Istanbul to the Aegean, to the Mediterranean, Anatolian, the Far East, Black Sea, each region is completely different from the other. We have this biodiverse landscape and we don't take care of it and we don't value it. And it drives me insane because the one thing that we should be protecting as people in Turkey, and I've got my Turkish citizenship now and I live here. I'm Turkish now. My life, I want my kids to have the options to grow up in life outside of Istanbul, but we make it so hard. But we do it ourselves. If you look at places around, let's look at France, for example. France is a good example for valuing regions for their production. You've heard of Champagne, but Champagne is a region in France. You've heard of Bordeaux. Bordeaux is a region in France. You've heard of Burgundy. Same thing. Brittany. All these different regions you can sit there and name off in France, and you can think, oh, they produce this, they produce that, they produce this. The government even says that for this to be authentic, it has to be produced in this particular region. They do the same thing in Italy. They do the same thing in Spain. Why are we not valuing and putting what we produce into perspective here in Turkey? I don't understand. Trabzon, for example, famous for their butter, right? Everyone across Turkey talks about Trabzon butter. Trabzon tereyağı. Why aren't we putting some type of designation on Trabzon butter? It has to be made within this border, within this amount of time, and this quality. It has to test for this. And we start ensuring that every single thing that's being produced is of the highest quality. It doesn't change the price. The method doesn't change. The methods are 200, 300, 400 years old. Things are old, which is the reason that they're good, but we don't do it. Everyone, what's Adana famous for example? Kebab. But Adana has so much more to offer when it comes to food. These things. But it's amazing. Those things still, I mean, like they call it offal, right? Where you're using organ meats and different things to make food. But those things are important to our culture. We shouldn't lose it. We shouldn't lose these things. We should put value on our olive oils from Aydın, from Izmir regions, Didim, Balıkesir, Bursa. We should put value on these. Instead of, most of Spanish olive oil, most of a lot of times we just put olives on a boat, ship them there, they press it there, and then, hey, it's Spanish. You see these designations all the time. All right, guys. So if you liked my rant about, what we should do better in Turkey, and, sorry, you got some passion there about how I feel we need to do things, then please click the subscribe, click the like button, follow us on social media, content coming out every week. Until next time, guys, take care.